If you're like me and you started taking photos and videos, maybe for your church, you bought a hard drive to store some of your photos and videos on, and then that one filled up, so you bought another hard drive, and then that one filled up, so you bought another hard drive, and so on and so forth, until you have a stack of about, 10 hard drives of varying sizes and capacity, just all holding files on files on files on files. It's not everyone's favorite topic, but it is a serious issue to nail down and be able to have a plan for, especially in a church environment nowadays when you're shooting services, when you're filming testimony videos, talking head videos, when you're taking photos of events, and all of that has to go somewhere and has to be used by people and actually posted. All that stuff has to be organized and kept in a central location so that people who need to have access to it, especially if you work in a team, the people who need to have access to it can have access to it. And so that's what this video is about, talking about online storage options for you and for your church. What options do you have to choose from? And specifically, what can you get with taking into consideration discounts that you might get as a nonprofit? We're gonna look at all of that. And we'll also talk about what we use as a church currently for our online storage solutions and why maybe that's the best route for you to go, or maybe not. Maybe there's another option that works better for you. We're gonna talk about all that in this video. And I'm also gonna share how we actually get unlimited online storage in the cloud, because I don't think a lot of people really know about this. So, if that's something that you're looking for, a solution that can hold just an infinite amount of storage, there is a solution, and it actually doesn't cost, an arm and a leg to do. So it's actually pretty affordable. So first thing I want to talk about is what kind of criteria, what do you want your online storage solution to do? We have a list. I'm going to share that here with you right now, but you might want to take this list and tweak it to your needs and what you actually need your online cloud storage to do, because I think that affects, what solution you actually go with. And so based on our list, you can obviously see that there's going to be one solution that fits that better than any other solution, but depending on what criteria you might have, the clear option for you might be something different. So our criteria, what we wanted out of our cloud storage solution, first thing was unlimited cloud storage. We didn't want to have a max threshold, a max amount of storage we could use. We didn't want to have to keep upping it every time we added another terabyte. We didn't want to have to worry about, is that online or is that local? Because we didn't have enough room to keep it all in the cloud. And then the other thing is that anyone on the team can easily have access to any file in there. That's why we wanted everything in the cloud, so that everyone can have access to all the same files. So there's not like one file sitting on someone's hard drive and you're like, I need that. You have to go to that person to find that file off of their hard drive. So we wanted everything in the cloud so everyone could have access to it. We also wanted something that was easy to integrate into our computers. Specifically, we wanted it to be easy to use on Mac OS's Finder. We wanted to be able to see everything that was in the cloud off of the Finder, but not have everything stored locally. Unless we wanted to, then we could download that and then we could use it. But we wanted the ability to see everything that was there, even if it wasn't stored locally on the computer. We also wanted it to be a low barrier to entry when it came to price. We didn't want to have to throw a bunch of money out beforehand before we even got, the solution up and running. And lastly, we just wanted something that wasn't complicated or difficult to actually set up to get started using. So we wanted something that was easy to just go ahead and turn on, start using, and get going. Now let's get into the different cloud storage options that we have here. And again, I'm looking at this mostly just for cloud storage. I know some of these other services, they'll have, other benefits, not just the cloud storage. There's other things that you get with these subscriptions or get with these plans, but I'm just solely looking at cloud storage here. Some of those other benefits might come into play when making your decision. Right out of the gate here, I'm going to talk about my favorite option, what we actually use at our church, and pretty much the only way to actually get unlimited cloud storage online nowadays. And the way to do that is to use Dropbox. You have to have a Dropbox business account, and then you have to have a minimum of 3 users to actually unlock unlimited storage for those accounts. So that looks like $24 a month per user. So that's 24 times 3 times 12 months, and that equals $864 for the entire year. But here's the kicker. You actually get a nonprofit discount if you ask them. You reach out to them, say, hey, I'm a nonprofit. What can you do for me? We looked on our billing. They don't actually tell you the number on the website. I went back and looked at, our bill. They actually give us a 30% discount for being a nonprofit. So what that does is that actually takes that $864 total and drops it down to $605. So you can get unlimited online storage for $605 a year using Dropbox. Integrates with the Finder really well. You can share files easily. People can get access to everything. You can choose whether something's stored locally or just online, but you can see it all in the Finder. So in this case, it just hits all of the criteria for us. I am partial to Dropbox. I've used Dropbox personally and, for business and stuff for years, even before we had unlimited cloud storage. But I can tell you that 4 or 5 years ago when I started using it, it didn't meet all of our criteria for the best online cloud storage solution. The Finder integration wasn't great, and other features that are there now just weren't there before. So, if you haven't used Dropbox in a while, give it another try if you're looking for something, because the upgrades that they've made in the last couple of years and just like ease of use and integration and things like that, it's made it so much better. I've enjoyed using Dropbox so much more than I did 3 or 4 years ago. All right, so moving on now to Google Drive. First off, the bummer is that actually a couple of years ago, you used to be able to get unlimited storage with Google Drive. It's really not available now. The only way to get unlimited cloud storage is if you go with the enterprise option, which again, they don't even list a price for that on the website. So you have to call them, talk to them, take a look at their business plans. You have to go with the Google Drive Business Plus to get 5 terabytes of storage. And that's the most you can get with any of their plans. 5 terabytes of storage for $18 a month per user. So I'm assuming you can get 5 terabytes with only one user, but I don't know that for sure. Now, nonprofit discounts, you get 70% off for the enterprise option. So, again, you have to call them and talk to them about that option to even get started with that. But for the business account, so for Business Plus, you get 72% off. So that drops it down to $5.04 a month. So you could get 5 terabytes if you only needed 5 terabytes or 5 terabytes per user. You could do that for $5 a month, which is pretty cheap, honestly. I mean, that's a good price. You're talking $1 per terabyte per month, plus other Google Workspace benefits like a custom email. So a good option to go with if you don't need more than 5 terabytes of storage. All right, so next let's talk about OneDrive. Here's what I found when it comes to just online storage solutions through OneDrive. What's the cost? How much do you get? And so looking at their options, it seems like everything pretty much maxes out at 1 terabyte, except for this one plan. Underneath the OneDrive business section, they have OneDrive for Business Plan 2. That's $10 a month. And the total storage says unlimited individual cloud storage. There's an asterisk next to that. And if I found that at the bottom of the page, it says unlimited individual cloud storage for qualifying plans for subscriptions of 5 or more users. So you have to have at least 5 users. Otherwise, it's 1 terabyte per user. Microsoft will initially provide 1 terabyte per user of OneDrive for business storage, which admins can increase to 5 terabytes per user and request additional storage by contacting Microsoft support. Storage up to 25 terabytes per user is provisioned in OneDrive for Business. Beyond 25 terabytes, storage is provisioned at 25 terabyte SharePoint team sites to individual users. So take with that what you will. I think you can get to unlimited cloud storage. There might be a little bit of an upcharge at some point. So I'm very limited in my Microsoft Office knowledge, but I think for $10 a month per user, you can at least start upping that cloud storage and pretty much get to unlimited once you need it. But that OneDrive plan is literally only for OneDrive, so nothing else comes with that. I think you need a Microsoft 365 subscription for everything else separately, because on here it just says what's included, service included, OneDrive. That's it. But also you can get a nonprofit discount, which drops it down to $480 a year. So instead of $600 a year, you're looking at $480 a year. So it's really not a bad option, especially if you're in the Microsoft Office world. That's really probably not a bad deal. So, I mean, I would definitely look into that more if that's something that you're in all the time. Like I said, I'm just not. Another thing that I thought was kind of interesting, if you do need Microsoft Office, they have a page here for small and mid-sized nonprofits, and you can get Microsoft 365 Business Standard for $3 a month, and that comes with 1 terabyte of storage. So if you just need 1 terabyte, you don't need anything more than that, and you need it on the cheap, go ahead and get the $3 a month Microsoft Office, man, and then you have all of the Office products included with that, and then a terabyte. So if you need a terabyte on the cheap, that's the way to do it, I think, right there. All right, so for this last option, let's talk about something a little bit different. So instead of going with a service that you pay a monthly fee for, what if you went the route of setting up your own NAS? Well, I looked into that, and really it comes down to there's a big upfront cost, but then obviously you don't have the monthly fees. So it kind of depends on what you want to go with there. We just thought it was too much because I contemplated, do I go with the NAS? Do I set this up? Do I get this stuff, for the church and set all that up? And it just seemed like more of a pain and more of a headache to deal with that I just didn't want to deal with. And it was a big upfront cost. And again, this might be the right solution for you. I'm not saying that it's not, but there is a certain barrier to entry here, for price and also knowledge and just being able to set it up and then having, all your files are in your hands. Of course, you're putting your files in someone else's hands when you go to Dropbox or Google Drive. But if you mess up on, if you accidentally delete your files, or if a hard drive crashes and you didn't have the right RAID set up, then that's gonna be on you. And so there's a difficulty to setting this up. Anyway, let's go through the options here. If you went with a NAS, if you went with a Synology 4 bay, that's $550 right now. Then if you got 4 drives for each of those bays, that would be 10 terabyte drives at $300 each. But that's not all that you need, because that's just local redundancy. That's not an offsite backup or an online backup. If you wanted offsite backup, you'd have to get the exact same enclosure and the exact same hard drives, and then set that up at an offsite location, and basically just have that one mirroring the original RAID. So if you did all that, that cost would come out to $3,500 just to get started, basically. So, and that's only 40 terabytes total. So that's not unlimited storage, it's 40 terabytes total. And if you need more space, you're gonna have to buy a bigger bay, and you're gonna have to buy more hard drives. And then eventually down the line, you'll still have costs of upgrading from that. And then also eventually those hard drives are gonna go bad and you're gonna have to replace them. And then that's another $300 every time you gotta replace a hard drive. So it is a big upfront cost, but you think then you don't have the monthly fee. But at some point down the line, you're going to start to have to pay more again, either for more storage or just replacing the old drives that have gone bad. And when I did the math on this, it is going to take us like 3 to 4 years of using Dropbox before we even get to $3,500 that we've spent. And in 4 years, are we going to have more than 40 terabytes? We might, so we're going to have to, either way, we're going to have to spend more money, so at the end of the day, I don't think spending all this money up front is going to net you a whole lot down the line, especially for the setup process and, the extra difficulty of setting everything up and managing it yourself. That's why we ended up going the Dropbox route. And again, a NAS might be the best solution for you, but chances are, if that is the best solution for you, you probably already know that, and you probably already done it. You probably already have a NAS. Really, when it comes down to it, if you're thinking, if you're debating all these options and you're like, what is this? Do I need to do this? Do you have to do this? I don't think you have to. I think you can do it with Dropbox, you can do it with Google Drive, you can do it with OneDrive. I just think there's an extra layer of complexity when you go the NAS route, and I don't think that's a needed complexity. We're basically paying with our Dropbox subscription, we're paying Dropbox to handle all that stuff. We're paying Dropbox to have redundancy, to have offsite backups, to keep our stuff secure. And of course, that's not guaranteed, but we just don't have to worry about that. It's in their hands. Anything could happen. Either way you go, there could be something bad that happens. We could lose all our stuff, and that goes without saying, right? Obviously, the most important stuff that you need, that you don't want to lose. Don't trust Dropbox, don't trust Google Drive, have it backed up. But, there's some stuff that we just, again, we don't want to keep everything on drives. We keep the most important stuff on our local hard drives and on external hard drives. But then we do have a lot of stuff backed up in the cloud that is not backed up anywhere else, just because we just don't want to use the space. And it's, it would suck if we lost that stuff, but it's not going to be the end of the world. So again, most important stuff is backed up on an external hard drive still, but not everything. So I wanted to wrap up with my final thoughts on each of these options and to summarize who each solution is for. So Dropbox, I think, is the best value in terms of space for money. Unlimited storage for basically $600 a year. Google Drive is a great option if you don't need more than 5 terabytes per user. Probably the best bang for your buck, $5 a month for 5 terabytes of storage. I think OneDrive is great if you're already in that Office 365 world and you just want to up your storage limits for there. You can take a look into that unlimited. You can maybe get that unlimited for actually $480 total once you get the 5 minimum users and the nonprofit discount. Or if you're just looking for a bare minimum, less than 1 terabyte of storage, you can get that for $3 a month per user. And then lastly, going the NAS route, I think that's a great option. If you just want full control, you want control of every single aspect of setting it all up, you want to be in charge of your data and you want to be in charge of your storage, a NAS is the way to go. All right, so I think that about does it. I think that covers everything when it comes to online storage, at least as it pertains to churches. If you have any other questions, anything that I missed that you kind of wish I covered in this video, leave it in the comments below because I'm curious. And I kind of hinted at it, kind of teased it in this video, but obviously having one place to store all your files is important, but you have to also know how to structure those folders and actually, make it so that people can find the files that they need to find, especially if multiple people are in there working all at the same time. So if you're interested in folder structure, just general folder structure for how to store your content, how to actually be able to navigate your folders so anyone can find whatever they're looking for, let me know, and maybe I'll make a video showing our folder structure and how we do that, because we have probably 3, 4, 5 people all trying to get into the same folders, all finding the same media and videos and photos and things like that. You have to be conscious of your folder structure, because things can get lost really quickly. You can be like, where is that? Even just me starting out, my folder structure was terrible, and I couldn't even find things that I was making. If I go back and try and find old projects, I couldn't find them now. So especially when you're working in a team of 4 or 5 people, you have to have a structure. You have to have a set structure, and that's going to look like folders on folders on folders. But yeah, so anyway, I can show what we do. If you're curious, let me know. I'd like to hear from you on that. Hopefully you learned something new. If you got value from that, please drop a like. It helps a ton, or share it with someone else who might need to know this information. This information might be helpful to someone else. So if you share this with someone else, I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.